Got a question from a viewer. What is the best way to silence negative self-talk and switch to self-love? I know many of you folks out there are doing your best to try to bypass self-love. You're looking for every which way that you can to avoid self-love. And so you find yourself in these destructive patterns, dysfunctional relationships, feeling extremely unhappy about yourself, and you're looking for the answer. What can I do? What spiritual thing can I do? What process can I do? How can I get people to love me? How can I change the world to make myself feel better? And I'm telling you, you're wasting your fucking time. So, self-love is the foundation for everything. Regardless of what process, what idea, what thing you're trying to achieve, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot escape self-love. Because self-love is the ultimate connection with yourself. And you're doing everything that you're doing right now, or wanting everything that you want, so that you can feel connected with yourself and this reality that you're in. And so, not having self-love is like a major disconnect. A major disconnect. So, as far as negative self-talk, first of all, you have to be aware that you're even doing it. And if you're unhappy, if you're finding yourself stuck and you're watching this video, you probably are aware to some degree that you're having negative self-talk. So, at that point, what are you going to do about it, right? So, first of all, you have to recognize that it's a problem and that you need to even address self-love. If you don't get that, then there's nothing much I could say. You got to work on that piece first. But assuming you're here watching and you agree that you want to work on the negative self-talk, then let's look at some ideas, right? Like, for example, what things do you do that would be considered negative self-talk? You know, do I say I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm too ugly, nobody likes me, I hate this body that I'm in, I wish I wasn't born, whatever that is, right? So you got to look at those things, or those ideas or beliefs that you tell yourself, and you got to say, look, is this something loving, or is this not loving? And if you really listen to yourself and pay attention objectively, you can probably figure that out, that these are not loving thoughts. So, first thing is identify what the negative thoughts are, negative talk. And then from there, you can switch it around. So, what's the opposite of I hate my body, right? That would be something like I love my body. Or maybe I love my body feels like too repulsive because you're just so grossed out by your body that the thought of saying I love my body doesn't feel right. It feels like a lie. So you got to start slow. So maybe you have to start saying, hey, I can hate my body a little less. Like, that might be a tiny improvement. And maybe you can shift it to I can learn to accept my body. Or I can find little things about my body that I appreciate. Or another step further might be, hey, I'm looking better, or I lost a little weight, or I feel better about my body because I got compliments, or whatever the story is. But you got the idea, right? You're progressively finding more positive approaches or positive affirmations or beliefs that you can have about your body. And you can do this with your careers, your goals, your confidence, whatever that is, right? Let's say you have trouble, you're a guy and you have trouble talking to women or whatever. And so you feel really awkward, nerdy, whatever. And you have a lot of anxiety. So maybe you start slow and you say, hey, I'm going to work on my confidence. I'm going to work on communicating. I'm going to work on feeling better about myself. And maybe you start slow and you start talking to some women, and maybe you get nervous, but you did a little better than you did last time. So, you can mark the improvements. Say, hey, look, I'm still need work, but I'm doing a little bit better. And so you have to gradually shift out of the negative self-talk by flipping it around to the positive. And understand that you're not trying to get perfection here, right? Self-love is self-love, and maybe for you folks who are very much in the self-hate, self-rejection, self-critical mode, the idea of self-love feels like I gotta accept something that I don't like about myself. Well, I'm here to tell you, self-love does not mean you have to like everything about yourself. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's what unconditional love is, right? It's loving yourself without conditions. And if you're not used to that, you don't understand how that works, don't worry about it. You'll get there. But understand that unconditional love means it's unconditional, right? So if you love a friend, if you love a family member, if you love your child, if you love your pet, whatever, you understand that you can love them without having them be perfect, right? So it is unconditional. So you gotta learn how to love yourself despite the flaws or not having yourself be perfect the way you are. And when you can get to that place of learning how to love yourself and accepting who you are for who you are, not because you're lying to yourself and say, I have to love this about myself even though I don't like it. It's about loving yourself just the way you are, despite the flaws, despite things that you might want to change about yourself. And when you can get to that place and you can start sitting with that and learning to accept and maybe even appreciate some of those qualities about yourself, then you're on your way. And so that's the self-love idea, right? I mean, there's like I said in my other video, you can check out my other related videos. I'll put it down below, including my self-love video. There are entire books. There's long discussions about self-love, and a lot of people just don't know what it is. And so you got to start tapping into what the idea of self-love is. And if you can't do it for yourself, then you can observe how it feels to love someone else. And recognize that if you turn that around, you can do that for yourself. And to be able to love other people and to want to get love from other people, but not be able to love yourself is like the most backwards thing. And I know that doesn't seem that way for some of you folks who are, you went through some kind of experience, perhaps in childhood, or you were programmed by society or your family or your culture to ignore or abandon yourself. So self-love is about being totally present with yourself. And when you start doing that, then all the other processes, all the other goals, all the other things that you're trying to do will work much more effectively. Because if you're going to ignore the self-love, that's like a huge missing piece of energetically, you're missing the biggest piece of yourself when you can't love yourself. And then you go outside looking for all these solutions, and you're trying to bypass self-love, and it's not going to work. All right? So give that a thought. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.